Hey, this is Sun Goddess Moonchild, and I am doing a tarot reading for Marilyn Monroe. So I'm just gonna mostly use my intuition for, this reading and to really get into it and to really just tell her story and bits, maybe not her complete story, but to really get a general idea of who she was. I haven't done celebrity readings in a while, and this is my first time doing it on camera, so hopefully I don't get nervous and stuck. I just ask spirit and the angels to help me with this. I really want to, you know, do this in a way that would be respectable. So anyway, let's go with card number 1, which is, this is actually this is an astrological um card reading. Pretty much it's based on the houses, so it's like the first house through the 12th house. Yeah, I know. My background's kind of like not really together today, so sorry about that. Anyway, card number 1, which is actually the self card. It's not really a house, but it's just a self card. The second card is actually Aries in this deck, in this reading. So anyway, let me see. This is the self card. Okay. Let's see that. I would say this card, I see a woman who is like, probably boxed in and sad and depressed. And in this little, like, it can also represent a box, can also maybe represent, um, it could represent, I would say, like a house. Maybe you just being trapped in a house and not really having so much of a social life when it comes to, you know, behind closed doors. Um, I see someone who's like maybe thinking a lot, someone who's like I said, depressed, and someone who probably has a lot on their mind. And the reason why I say that is because of the swords. Swords represents thoughts and logic, and it also represents air. So I feel that Marilyn Monroe, she was a very like outgoing woman, and she, obviously a very beautiful woman, but she was, I've, channeling her energy in for so many years and really trying to really understand her on a personal level. I would say that I relate to her a lot, more like, personality wise. So I know that she was always outgoing on the movie screens, but when it came to her personal life, I was told that she wasn't very like that. She was more of a writer. She was more of an introvert, and so maybe when she was working and stuff, like she had a very like she was always very tired and worn out, and she didn't really have her time when it came to doing her job as Marilyn Monroe. But when she was Norma Jean, she was just like, more of her real self. I feel like Marilyn Monroe was more of a character that she was playing. Like, I feel like we all wear these masks, but I'm not saying that Marilyn Monroe isn't her, but it's just sometimes when we see celebrities, we expect them to be more than what we expect them to be. And the thing is that they're human too. So I'm going to do card 2. I believe this is card 2. Yeah, the Hangman. I usually get the Hangman when I just see like the sacrifices. Every time I get this card, on celebrities is usually like, ironically, is usually celebrities that are known for quote unquote having suicidal deaths. So it's like the Hangman. It's like, yeah, he's not hanging himself, but it's like the name. It's like the Hanged Man. It's like, when you think of a hanged man, you're either thinking of someone who hung himself. And I usually think of that as like, when it comes to celebrities who have passed on, I see that as like the quote unquote, suicide cliche of a celebrity. But with me, I get not really that. I get that she didn't kill herself. I feel that I remember when I was a child, I did channel in her energy, and the first thing I got from her was that she was um she was whacked. And I feel like some people say it's because she knew too much. Some people also say it's also because of um JFK and the scandals and all that kind of stuff. But this card can also represent sacrifices. So maybe she was always probably the type of person who wasn't afraid, like, not, maybe not a greedy person. Sorry for all the cat hair on this. My cat, her hair gets everywhere. But yeah, what was I gonna say? I feel like maybe she was the type of person who had, she knew she had money and she wasn't really greedy with it. So people came to her for, whether it was money or like maybe wanting to be famous too, or maybe she was more of a giver. She was like a nurturing person, and I feel like she was kind of like the motherly type, so she was very sweet and she was very confident, but like maybe people also used her. Like she was probably used, I feel like. And she did all these sacrifices and stuff like that. Even for the people that like the people who, the movie industry. Maybe she felt like she was doing all this work as Marilyn Monroe, but did she really get her, like, she did get her, shot as a movie star and did live her dream, but also she also knew like uh that it wasn't gonna be just like rainbows and butterflies. Like there were gonna be people in the industry that were gonna use her up, and I'm trying to think what more can I get with this card? The Hangman. Okay. Um, this card represents patience, contemplation, and sacrifice. The greatest benefit will behold when you are able to let go. So don't try to control peace. Okay, so yeah, maybe she made a lot of sacrifices in her life in order to, have the things that she um had in her life, whether it was fame and stardom and just being this, sex symbol. It looks pretty on screen, but it wasn't as, pretty in it behind closed doors. Okay, number 3. Okay, I see a man, Knight of Wands. This can also represent a man, a strong, I don't know, maybe her husband. And I see fire. I see butterflies. I see a guy with on a horse. I see like a warrior type, a knight. Okay. This obviously is someone who is a strong person and someone who is like probably like a fighter and someone who is able to mm, compete, like a competitive type of spirit. Um, and I feel like it could represent maybe her personality, or it could also represent like the kind of man she was with or maybe the kind of men she was with. But I noticed that when I do get these kind of cards with celebrities, um, they're usually people that were in their life. So the more I unravel this, I'll get to see. But maybe instead of like, I should just start flipping all of the cards right now so that I can see what that means. So I'm gonna go from number 4, number 5, okay, and then number 6, number 7, and then 8. What else? 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I have like rosemary spelt all over here too. It's like rosemary. I was just like burning some rosemary a few minutes ago. So it's like I got cat hair and rosemary. All right. Man, trying to see what I can get here. I'm going to make them closer. This is interesting. Oh man. Okay. All right. I'm just going to put that there. I want to use my intuition. I'm not even going. Okay. Let's see. Number 11. Where's number 11? Okay. All right. So the first card that draws to me is the Lover's card reversed. And the thing, what I get with her is, automatically I see an imbalance of a relationship, maybe like an affair, of some sort, or maybe also like her relationships weren't always stable either. I feel that she's always wanted a stable relationship, and she's always wanted to have like kids, and she wanted to have like a family and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know if it's that she just fell in love with the wrong kind of people, or that she was able to find men that did love her, but it was just, there was always seeming to have like certain blockages. And I see the butterfly, and the butterfly is also metamorphosis and transformation and all of that kind of stuff. I feel like maybe she was in love with a certain person, and she was it was just not balanced. I feel like what is I gonna say? The Lover's card also represents a balance between the head and the heart. So maybe she wasn't always thinking with she didn't always have like a balance with her head and her heart. I feel that she was more emotional than like always. She was smart. She was a smart businesswoman, I feel. Like she knew how to like take care of herself. Like she was independent, all that. But when it came to love and all that kind of stuff, she was like a sucker for it. And she was beautiful, but like just because women are beautiful and they're like bombshells doesn't mean that they're always gonna have like the perfect man for them, and or even just the perfect relationship for them. Maybe it's not that she wanted to have scandals in her life. She didn't want to have like, oh, I want to just like have affairs or be like with other men behind my husband or whatever it was, or vice versa. It wasn't like that. I think she's just a lover. She falls in love easily, probably. And the thing is like sometimes it guides her to the wrong places. And the thing is, either way, I felt like Marilyn Monroe, even though she was a sad girl sometimes, she was also a very happy girl. And it's not that she wasn't happy, it's just that there was things in her life in this world that tried to stop her from uh maybe even having happiness. Maybe it was just the stress of, being famous and rich, and it's not as glamorous as they try to make it seem in Hollywood. And I just feel that she just was a lover. She really was, and she just really wanted love. And it was just something. It was just out of balance. There was like an uncooperation, a disconnection between the head and the heart, in an unrequited love. Maybe it could also represent the scandal between her and JFK. And I don't know if there was like men that she was with that didn't treat her right, or maybe vice versa. Maybe she got into her marriages weren't always successful. But either way, that didn't really stop her from having love. I feel she was she just was in love with love, and she was very in tune with being that woman. She enjoyed being a woman, obviously. So let me see. What am I gonna get? I'm just gonna go with the cards that draw to me. Okay, the Three of Swords. I see like usually in the original tarot, I see this card. This card usually has a heart with three swords pierced into it. But this card also represents loss, betrayal, and sorrow, and disappointments and setbacks. And the thing is that I feel like maybe it represents the heart too. So it's like maybe she had a broken heart, maybe she broke hearts, maybe it was a little bit of both. Maybe there was a third party, some sort of affair that was going on in her life, and like some sort of unfaithfulness. I don't know if it's just relationships and romance, but maybe like business partners or friendships. And like she really saw that not everybody was really her friend, that some people were pretending to be there for her, but there was just like people doing things behind her back, and maybe they just put all these things in her head, and she realized that she just ended up being disappointed. And but the thing is that uh it's crazy, how you can just feel that, someone who is just rich and famous, it's just sad, like. But I just feel like, I want to talk about something more positive right now. So, um, let's see. I see the sword. Ah, this cat here. I feel like she was crazy. Like, she wasn't always, like, so sad and so, like, sensitive and weak and feeble. I feel like she was a strong, confident woman. I feel that she was a very smart woman, very intellectual. She knew how to write. She knew how to use her words. She knew how to seduce, and she was very good at that. And she was very, maybe a little manipulative when it came to her using her mind. She was very good at with just speech. And let me see. Let me see what else I could get. It also represents realization, truth, intellect, clarity, and communication. It says when this card appears, you will be able to you will be presented with an opportunity to use your mind through obstacles. There may be a problem to solve, which you will lead to personal growth, and you will have the mental focus to make new plans and develop new strategies and commit. A new truth will occur to you. I feel like she knew how to work with her opportunities, especially as an actress and a movie star. She was like, she knew how to use like her beauty and her body and her sexuality. Like Marilyn Monroe, like she wasn't the type of woman to be like shy. So like, you know, if you want to call it like quote unquote selling your soul to Hollywood, whatever. But with her, maybe she didn't necessarily see it that way. I don't know. But she just knew how to like seduce men. She knew what she had to do to get to the top. And she knew how to like be smart about it. She knew how to work smart. She worked hard, I bet, but like she definitely knew how to work smart in the industry. Like she came off as ditzy and airheaded and like the typical blonde, but she was very like she was very like sly and stealthy and like she just knew she was a strong woman, you know. Um, anyway, let's see. Okay, I see. The first thing I get is like wands is fire, so it's like maybe she's getting all these jabs thrown at her. It's like all this fire thrown at her. Someone who's just angry. Maybe she was going through a lot of stress in her life when it came to being surrounded around a lot of people. I feel like she was the type of person that, yeah, like she liked attention, but there were certain times where she wasn't always about um, having all that attention every single time. Like, I feel like she could probably get a little, I don't know, claustrophobic, but like it was just too much. So where she would just have to be like, you know what, I'm done. Like I can't, I cannot be all up in this. So I have to retreat right here. I have to retreat. Maybe this card can also mean that too. These two cards right here. It's like I have to retreat. I cannot be around people too much. I think she liked her freedom. She liked her space. And I feel like this card is what made her depressed. You know, she was depressed because I felt like maybe sometimes she felt like a prisoner. Maybe even in her own mind or even like in her own creative expression. Like she wanted to creatively express herself, and it's not that she couldn't, but sometimes it felt like she wanted to do what she wanted to do in the industry, but sometimes the industry wanted to do what they wanted her to do, and sometimes it was like she was like their property. Like she was like, okay, well, you know, I want to do this and I want to do that. I want to be free, you know? And it was like, you know, sometimes she felt maybe she was trapped. And maybe sometimes she was silenced. Like there's things that she just couldn't really say or do. And it just made her depressed, you know? And she was stuck. And sometimes she had to retreat. Cups is also the element of water, and it is love, and it is intuition, and it is sensitivity and emotion. And water signs are very deep. Water people are deep. I know she wasn't a water sign, but like I feel like she was a deep, deep person and an emotional person, and she probably cried a lot. She was like a crier. She she was like up and down with her emotions. Maybe because of certain things that she had gone through. I don't know if she went through some sort of abuse in her younger days. I don't know what it was. But I feel like, you know, her life, it was fun. It was beautiful in many ways, it was, but it wasn't always easy, you know? And I feel like this boat was the only place that she could really like really relax and retreat and to be creative and to really have love on her mind and to really have like all of those intuitive like expressions alone where she could just write and she can just create whatever she wanted to do on her own, and like be near the water, and like just kind of relax, and just kind of like just kind of just be on the boat and sail away from all of it. Sail away from all of it. I feel like um, the Justice card. It's like a balance between. I don't know if she wanted to take some sort of justice in her life, and I feel like she has to a certain extent, but it's like shadiness. I'm gonna look into that. What else do I get? Um, I'm gonna say like maybe I don't know, like the Justice card. I can also think of like maybe like a lawyer. I don't know, like the law, and fighting for what was right, and maybe she was that type of person, but like we didn't really get to see that side of her. This card also represents Libra, the scales, and it also indicates that the actions will have fair consequences. Everything, it could also mean like, just because, you know, um, you know, she can also feel like, how do I say it? What they did to her, after she had, passed on, and the way she was treated, at the end of the day, she did kind of get like some justice in her life, because the people that had did that to her, um, they got exposed. So it was like they were trying to hide her death, but like they, no, the truth comes to light. And I feel like maybe it could also mean that too. It can also mean that maybe because she also knew too much. And I feel like she wanted to be like that fighter for the truth. And she was, but I feel like because she was Marilyn Monroe, she was like in this situation too. So she wanted to be here, but sometimes she was here forcefully. And the thing is that I feel like the law, it can also represent like the people that she was with, like JFK and all that kind of stuff. I was told that she was he told her a lot of things, and that's just crazy. So anyway, let's see this card. I see a crown. The first thing I think of is like queen. So I'm trying to channel this in. Okay. It says, oh man, it's like ungrateful. I mean, this card also means ungrateful, stifling routine, unhappy home, and private celebration. It can mean delays and setbacks. Maybe it's just that she was happy, she got her rewards and all those kinds of things, but something inside of her wasn't. Ah, man, something inside of her was not complete. And sorry for that. I gotta make a phone call real quick, so I'm gonna try to hurry up. Uh, I'm gonna see. What else do I got? Yeah, like either way, like I'm gonna say that she was a queen in her job. Like at the end of the day, she was a goddess and she was a queen. But like I feel like sometimes she just wasn't happy. Just sometimes. Man, okay. The Fool card. This card represents like trust in the universe, and like letting go, and like trusting in the unknown, and to just like give it a shot even if it seems ridiculous. And I feel like there's an imbalance with that. Maybe it could also be like she was that kind of person. She was kind of like a free spirit, and sometimes there was an imbalance in that, you know. Sometimes maybe she didn't trust herself enough. Maybe because other people had always told her what to do, and she wasn't able to like be that free spirit sometimes. Um, but sometimes I feel like maybe she just always was. She just didn't care. She just was that, and it caused problems with other people. People just didn't like the fact that she just was. And the thing is, it set some sort of imbalance, probably with the people that she worked with. And maybe she was a little reckless, a little unstable. Like, you know, she wasn't always like, yeah, she had it all together when it came to like, you know, living her dream. But when it came to her emotions, and sometimes she was unpredictable. I feel like she was a risk taker. So like people didn't really know what to expect from her all the time. And now it's this card, the 10 of Cups. I feel like this is a love connection between her and somebody. And I feel like maybe her and this person would always go and celebrate all the time, and they would maybe drink and, you know, go to like you know, gatherings and do all these kinds of things. And but there's something in between them. I don't know if it was like some sort of time or some sort of distance. um but I also see these two people looking at each other, and they really do like each other. And but it can also represent a happy home and you know, blessings. But it could also represent family problems and separation and emotional lack. The It's probably like she was missing something in her life. I feel like maybe she wanted to have a family or something like that. And probably like whatever it was, oh sorry, whatever it was that was holding her back. And yeah, but that is it for those cards. um I want to see what else can I say. I have a few more cards. I have a signifier. I have the Judgement card and the Strength card, and um the Eight of Swords. So okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just gonna do this real quick. I feel like maybe even though she was unstable, she was like she was stubborn. She wasn't always like a push around. Um Maybe she felt like she was always being judged. People were always judging her for being like who she always wanted to be. Um but I feel like she always had a clear mind of who she was. Um and I feel like sometimes she was trapped. And I think this is this card. I feel like I see a naked woman, and she was free and like kind of like sexual and like powerful and strong. And like I feel like maybe people judged her because of that. Like maybe she was like slut shamed a lot, or maybe people treated her like she wasn't good enough, or like maybe even like people even judged her on her looks. Like they thought like, oh, she wasn't pretty enough, or you know, like maybe she thought, maybe she knew like she had competition. And but at the end of the day, she was able to like take off her clothes and be free and like do all that kind of stuff. But like kind of like when she did that infamous, like quote unquote infamous picture photo shoot when she had the white dress and like her dress kind of lifts up from the air. And I heard that her husband did not like that very much, and I feel like that was her. That's her in this card. It's like she's that lady in that white dress, and where her dress is about to come up, and like those are the kind of moments that she enjoyed. But like maybe her husband didn't like that kind of stuff, and people kind of judged her like, she's like a whore or what. I don't know, like I'm just saying, like, kind of like, oh, she shouldn't be sexual, like, only men are allowed to be those kind of things. And it's like her, she just kind of had that dominant side, but she was also like, you know either way, it still worked for her in the long run because she's still like this bombshell at the end of the day. So this is the last card. Let me see. What can I get from this? I see someone like holding these swords. I feel like maybe she was tough on herself sometimes too. Maybe she was like a perfectionist. She knew like she was perfect in her own way, but at the same time she probably felt like she wasn't perfect at the same time. Like she was a walking contradiction. Like she wanted to be the best that she wanted to be, but yet she was. And sometimes I think she couldn't see that because of all of the judgment that she was probably getting. And she just wanted to be like Marilyn Monroe or Norma Jean. And she was able to do that. But sometimes I feel like I'm getting bipolar, I'm getting pills, I'm getting like maybe she had to take meds and stuff, and I feel like whatever like kind of stuff that she was on, maybe it just kind of didn't like make her feel good about herself. I see a woman with her eyes closed. Um, Hold on. It also means freeing yourself and finding a solution to reclaiming personal power. And I feel like she was very strong on freeing herself and really finding her personal power. Like, I feel like Marilyn Monroe, she was also kind of like a bird in a cage. And they kept putting her in cages, but she always like knew how to fly out. She was just very good at pretending that she, like, even if she was stuck in the cage, she would make sure that she was like that cage was going to be her home, and she was going to make a party out of that cage. That makes sense. She was going to make sure that cage was going to be the best thing in her life, even if she was like trapped. Like in her head, she wasn't trapped because she was still free. You know, um, they might, she probably was controlled to a certain extent, but she knew that she was always going to be that free spirit. And yeah, so that is the reading for Marilyn Monroe's tarot reading. Sorry for my hands looking bad, but yeah, I've been washing dishes a lot, so my skin is really getting rough from all that soap. But anyway, yeah, that's a reading. I tried to be as respectable as I could, um, and not to really force myself on it, but I hope you liked it. God bless and bless be.